Hello everybody. This is my third attempt at doing my little witter today. It's 2 days late. A few issues with the quilt. I do apologise. It's Tuesday afternoon instead of Sunday morning. Never mind, we're here now. As I said, this is my third attempt at actually doing my witter today. One, I had a humongous great motorbike go up and down the lane behind us here. Drowned me out completely. And then, it went all the way up really, really loud. And then it came back again and totally wrecked everything I was trying to do. So we ignored that one. And then I've done my second one. And then a friend came in the middle of it. So that's the end of that one. So this is my third attempt. We've got no blocks going on with our witter quilt today because that's going to be come the weekend, and because I haven't actually made one yet. Sorry about that. I have no idea what I'm going to do yet, but I will get that sorted. So I've done this little witter to introduce you, as I've been on and on and on about my new design for Tilda fabric. It's the Tilda range Maple Farm, the latest one out, which is just gorgeous. The plains that I've put with it on this occasion are Mackower plains. They're linen texture because they're quite nicely soft. And they've got a little bit of movement to them. I just love them, and I thought they work quite well. And they've got quite big areas of plain going on in there because actually this quilt is hand quilted, and I want you to see the design on it. You could do it by machine obviously, but I was hand quilting. So what have we got? Courthouse steps. They were going to be log cabin originally. I had a bit of a rough idea of what I wanted to do, and I had it all drawn out. And as is what happens quite often, is I start off doing something and it turns into something completely different along the way. It's just how designing goes with me. So what was originally going to be log cabin, because we've been doing log cabin, has now turned into courthouse steps because I thought, oh, that'd be a bit different, wouldn't it? But using colour placement and fabric placement to make them a little bit like log cabin but not log cabin, and to look a bit different. Seemed to plan at the time. The original one was just like loads and loads and loads with bits in. This great big long was what I wanted to do. So it was just like long strips of plain or whatever, or pretties with these twisted log cabins is what I was going to do. I might do that another day. I've just claimed that pattern. Okay. This is what happened instead though. So we got courthouse steps, 2 lots of different sizes and things going on there. And we've got plains complementing all these fabulous Tilda fabrics. Hand quilted, as I say, the larger plain areas actually have a design that replicates the log cabin, the courthouse steps. There's masses of quilting on there actually, believe it or not, because something I very, very rarely do. Stitch in the ditch. So I've stitched in all of the seams of all of them. I don't mind doing this by hand because you can get it really accurate and it hides it away, which just gives the quilt some loft without actually seeing the stitching. If I do it on machine, it sort of gets one side slightly and then the other side slightly, and I really don't like that. I like it to be sort of invisible. And then there's some echo quilting as well. Echo quilting being normally when you stitch around either a piece of fabric or a bit of a design or something, and I've used some 1/4 inch quilting tape to mark it 1/4 inch from the seam, and then I get a nice straight line. So yeah, and I've used 2 different threads on there, Gutermann hand quilting threads, so they're waxed already, and there's like a dusky pink and there's a brown, a dark brown, believe it or not, purposely on the blue and things, just to not necessarily clash it. They actually work really quite well together, but to contrast so that you can see some of the quilting. Yeah, so that's basically what I've done, and it's completely free flow. Where you start off with one, my enthusiastic 1/4 inch foot, if you remember going on about this the other week, got very carried away in some points on this, so things didn't actually come out the size that I'd wanted them to. Well, do you know what? You just make it fit. It's a real proper old-fashioned bit of patchwork. Whatever you've got to hand, you use it, you make it fit. Some of the pieces in there are made up of several pieces to make a piece. Yeah, so excuse me, It's a little bit more of a traditional scrappy, but not scrappy. Does that make sense? I don't know. I've called it, have I told you this already? I'm forgetting what I've told you because I've already done this twice and I've got it all wrong. I've actually called the quilt Make It So, as in SEW. Bit trekkified, I know, but as I was doing it, it was like, oh, make it work. Make it so. Which is what I've done. All right. So you, though, if you're gonna take part and have a little go, don't have to do what I did, because I've got you a lovely plan all done out as it should be, instead of me bodging it as I go along. Having said that, there's every bit of this can be made to fit. You can add a bit, you can take a bit off. It really doesn't matter. If this isn't quite big enough, you could put another border all the way around it. As it is, I've just done a two-sided border with the brown. Why not? Why not? Yeah, so if you were to buy the pattern, that's what I was sort of trying to say. If you've got a full not how to, but a full plan there, you've got a bit of a template on the back of that one that you might need or might not need, depending on how your skills are. You have a sheet with example courthouse steps and colour placement, really. Okay, so that means you should be able to do those all right. But then more to the point, and why I'm 2 days late, you've got a 16-page colour booklet going on here with hundreds of colour photos. I keep looking that way because I keep catching Tom out the corner of my eye. He's in his bed up on the top here and keeps moving, and I'm like, what? I think someone's coming. Look, loads of photos, how to do it, lots of, all right. So it has taken me a bit longer than I intended. Now we've got 2 ways to do this, if indeed you want to play. The pattern with all its bits there has worked out at £22 plus postage. All right, good booklet there, all the rest of it, and you've always got me as backup help. I don't sell a pattern and ignore you and leave you to it. You can always shout me if you need some extra advice. All right, I do sort of assume a level of capability, i.e. you can sew 2 pieces of fabric together and you know how to put your wadding and your backing together in order to quilt and how to quilt. All right, but I think that's fairly basic stuff that hopefully everyone's okay with. So that's your pattern, 22 plus postage. I will put it over on my abbieann.com shop, and I'll also put it into Facebook on my page and in Patchwork Wittering, so you can always message me if you want one and we'll work it out. All right. What I've also done, now I sell these anyway, so you've probably seen, okay, there's a pack there of 12 different long quarters of the Tilda latest range Maple Farm. You can see some of them up here next to it, but they're all in there. Okay, so you've got 12 long quarters there. That's £45, which you could put with that and then put your own planes and things to it if you fancied. All right, or you can have it as a complete kit, so you can have the patterns with all of that, you can have that, and then I'll put the planes with it as well that you need, so you've got a couple of meters of planes going on there, and that all works out at £87 plus postage and packing. And you've got plenty of plain and stuff going on there. Might even do a bit at the back for you, or put you an extra board around it if you fancy. Okay, it's very, very difficult to tell how much you're going to use of which ones, because you know, you might like some fabrics better than me and put them in different places. Yeah, but there we are. It's all the fun of it. You could just, as I say, just use it with all of your own fabrics from your stash. So another scrap and stash quilt, as I call them, in the series of, because I have got a lot of those now. But yeah, there we go. So I'm very pleased to introduce you to Make It So, using Tilda and Mackower fabrics, and some traditional old good piecing and a bit of hand quilting. Obviously you can machine it if you fancy. All right, there we go. So lovely to talk to you today. It is just a quickie because I've not done my own work ready for the next block. That will be for the weekend. Okay, I hope you're all well out there and getting used to yet another set of rules. It is what it is after all. Yeah, so the 3 things as normal. Bit of tidying, bit of exercise. That hasn't happened for 2 days for me because I've been in and like head down doing this on the computer. You've never seen anything like it. It doesn't usually take me that long, but that really has taken me a lot. Yeah, a lot of effort, lots of photos. And then the other one, of course, is loveliness to everybody. And is everyone all right? Is everybody well? Is everybody coping? Does anybody need anything? Because it is going on, and we've just had this other rearrangement of what we can and can't do, which may well affect quite a few people. On the downside as well, as far as patchwork and quilting is concerned, we've had the rest of our big shows cancelled for the year, Grosvenor shows. Very upsetting for me because I was due in to do a bit at Sandown. I was due to judge and do and all sorts, but never mind. It is what it is. We're all here, we're all safe with a bit of luck, and we'll get to do them all next year. Give us a whole year to make even more quilts to put on display for everybody. It did go through my mind whether or not maybe we ought to have a whole section with winter quilts. Wouldn't that be fun? Maybe that's something I ought to do anyway. What do you reckon? Have you got enough winter quilts out there finished? Could we do a show? Could we even do just a virtual show maybe? Oh, now there's something, isn't there? We could perhaps... I know I was going on about it the other week, maybe for next year. Maybe that's what we ought to do. Maybe we ought to have a whole show of witter quilts. We're on witter quilt 6 after all. So witter quilts and other things in the series of. Wouldn't that be fun? There's a thought. See, then maybe that's why I'm having to do this 3 times today. Because I just had that thought in the last one. I didn't have it in the last 2. That's good, isn't it? There we are. Let me know your thoughts, and yeah, why not indeed. Okay, so I'm going to say be lovely.